Okay.
Hey everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing well today. Thursday. What is it? No, it's not Thursday.
It's Wednesday.
Can't keep track of the days. It's not
Yeah.
even COVID anymore. Well, it is COVID, but not for South Dakotans. We're out of our house. Not like it was, right?
Yeah.
Not like it was.
True.
I can't even figure out what day of the week it is, but we're sitting here in the Gate Cafe. Obviously, either two of us have been raptured and two of us are left.
Oh.
Or two of us are here. He said, uh-oh. Let us know how our volume is. We're trying out TJ's fancy mic today.
Yeah.
This would call this the COVID mic that you got, right? It
Kinda
doesn't
cool.
have COVID, but
That was why we got it,
that's
though.
why we got it. Right? We got all this COVID equipment around here. So if you can hear us okay, give us some hearts, some thumbs up. Should be able to. But just the two of us today. Oh, we got some hearts. Your mom's giving us hearts.
There we go.
So you
Sweet.
can hear us okay. So it's this cool little microphone right here
Yeah.
that, it's made. So if you ever want to do a podcast,
Yeah.
these are great for podcasts.
Yeah. That's
And
what I
they're
hear.
fairly inexpensive, too.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
You get them at, like, Best Buy, right?
Yep.
Sorry, we're in the technology side of things. Terry's giving us some
And
hearts.
they brought it to my car.
I think they still do that.
Yeah.
Is Best Buy open yet?
I haven't been, so I'm not sure.
So Best Buy, if you need a microphone, this is called the Blue microphone. You want to do a podcast from your home. It's
Yeah. It's pretty
But
sweet.
Ryan is actually at a funeral. He went out to the wake last night for Gabe Medicine Eagle out in Mission.
Yeah.
So he's out there today. So we're missing him. And Brent decided he wanted to have less teeth.
Yep.
So, I don't know if he'll get to keep the tooth. I haven't heard from him. It might be interesting to try to get him to FaceTime in.
Everybody text him or something.
Everybody send
See
Pastor
what-
Brent a text. Let him know you're praying for him. He had a tooth pulled today. So he's not with us. So somebody say hi, Bob. There must be a Bob on here. I thought Jolene was saying hi to me, but she was saying hi, Bob.
No.
So hi, Bob. It's
Hi,
great
Bob.
to see you on here. We've been digging through Song of Songs. We'll get to that here in a minute. But tonight we've got Family Fun Night, right?
Yeah, and it's going to be fun.
The weather outside, like all of a sudden I'm looking out the window and the skies are blue.
Right.
It's supposed to be like 80 degrees.
Yep. So we're going to be over at Wildwater West.
Wildwater West, it's $7 and
50 cents, I think. $7.50 for anybody over 48
or
inches.
if you know somebody who has a season's pass,
Oh.
they can get you in for $5
Oh,
after 4.
sweet.
So if you
That's
know
nice,
somebody
too.
who has what's the word I'm looking for today? Season's pass. There it is. If you know somebody who has a season's pass, you can get in actually any day after 4 for $5.
Oh, that's sweet.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
We do that. Our girls have season passes to Wildwater West. We don't get to go do anything but just take Charlie through the pee-pee pool. I mean, the kiddie pool.
That's awesome.
It's
So
warm
true.
because it's warm outside.
Yeah, duh.
The pee-pee pool, the kiddie pool.
That's so fun.
But it's good to be with you again. Pray for Pastor Brent. He had a tooth out today. We haven't heard much from him, which means he's probably sleeping
Yeah.
or laughing, or hopefully Tana got some funny videos of him that we can
Yeah.
share later. I don't know.
He did get put out.
Oh, he did get put out.
Yeah, he was like, I'm not doing the laughing gas stuff.
Oh, so he
was
got
like,
totally put
put
out,
me
huh?
out.
So he'll be one less tooth on Sunday, which is good actually because it was giving him a lot of pain. But we got us here in this cool little space in the Gay Cafe. If you've never been here or haven't been here in a while, we saw a family that hadn't been here for a little bit. They came in last week and they're like, "Oh my goodness, it's completely changed." So if you haven't
Yeah.
been, this used to have the bookshelves and the what else? The soda machine, or
Oh,
as they
yeah,
say in
that was
South
an
Dakota,
adventure.
the pop machine.
It's soda.
Is soda, which is randomly sitting somewhere else in the building at the moment.
Not hooked up.
But if
with
we could
nothing in it.
have videoed that would have been fun watching
Yeah.
the three of us trying to move that giant Pepsi machine. So
They're
it's
a lot
totally
heavier
different
than
area.
what you think.
They are. It's
Even
incredibly heavy.
unloaded.
I don't know that Ryan completely unloaded it. I think we figured out later there was still some soda in there, and all the change.
Oh yeah.
So it just made it more fun. But this beautiful scripture wall up here.
Yeah.
I only broke one of the glass things when I was putting it in, but you couldn't tell, I guess, probably. Unless you looked really close. So it's a really cool space. The Gate Cafe. Daycare loves to come here during the day. It's a quiet space. You can come in and read a book anytime you want. So.
Yeah. I actually spend a lot of time right there on that couch.
Yeah, which I moved it so we could put the camera there today.
Yeah.
So, but it's a cool little fun space. So we praying for Pastor Brent, be praying for Ryan. He's coming home tonight, I think. Or might be on his way home now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. He said he wasn't going to make it to Family Fun
that's
night.
right.
So.
He wasn't going to make it. So Ryan won't be there, but we'll be there.
Yeah.
I think I'll be there. I'm still, my wife would probably tell me I have to be there. Just because I'm just not a water park person. But that's okay. Charlie likes it.
Yeah.
Charlie loves it. So bring your kids, bring your family. Watch for us. Do we have a spot where everybody's meeting?
We're gonna find one of those picnic areas, not the gazebos or cabanas.
Somebody told me you were gonna rent one of those premium cabanas.
No, your daughter was mistaken. No, there's those covered picnic areas off to the right hand side.
Okay. Covered picnic areas off to the right hand side.
I think we're just gonna.
They're party areas.
Yeah,
party
and
area.
you don't rent them. You
Right.
just go hang out.
Okay.
So I think we're just gonna find a spot over there and just make that home base for.
And somebody will be there at
and-
4, right?
Yeah.
Watch for TJ at 4.
I was planning on being there.
He's gonna be there at 4. He's gonna be waiting for you with bells on.
I don't know about bells on,
It'd
but
be fun trying to swim in bells.
yeah.
Anybody know where TJ is? Just jingle. That's good. It's good to have you guys with us. Song of Solomon is such a fun book. Again, one of probably the most skipped books in the Bible,
Yeah.
besides the book of Revelation.
Right. It's funny though because everybody talks about wanting to study them, but they're skipped.
Yeah.
They're just I don't know.
We've been going through the book Translating God, right?
Yep.
And there's a really cool insight from Sean Boltz on reading the book of Revelation, and hear me when I say this, but reading the book of Revelation not as an eschatological book, but as a love letter,
Yeah.
in essence, as John the Beloved in relationship with Jesus, and unpacking that book. So it kind of goes along with
Right.
Song of Solomon and John the Beloved and this intimate relationship, although John the Beloved didn't write Song of Solomon.
Right.
Solomon did. But this element of reading the book of Revelation, not as an end times perspective, although that's in there, but reading it as an intimate relationship between John and Jesus.
Yeah. And I like what he said about how he described it as Jesus describing his bride.
Yeah.
And that's the connection that Jared's mentioning there is now we're stepping into Song of Songs and it's this is who the bride of Christ is and this is what she looks like. And that's exactly what kind of the correlation with Revelation is. And it's just really cool. So Translating God by Sean Boltz.
Sean Boltz, great book.
So good.
You ever want to learn and growing in the prophetic, it's
Yeah.
such an incredible book to read. We're reading it as a staff. I think the elders might be going through it too, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and maybe even the prophetic team, I think,
I
eventually.
think the prophetic teams are going through it too. Joe Lynn would know, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Such a great book, though. Check it out. So, TJ, we've been digging into Song of Solomon.
Yeah.
We've done verses 1 through 8 so far. And today we're going to dig into 9 through 11. So there's only 2 of us.
Right.
So we can't really go around the table.
Yeah.
Why don't you go first and give your thoughts on it?
Yeah. So knowing that it was just the 2 of us, I did a little more study today.
Oh, that's
which was good. It's just interesting. I'll read it initially and then kind of share some of my thoughts. So I'm in the Passion Translation, and it's there's a piece I'll talk about here that is only in the Passion Translation. So it was interesting, but it says, "My dearest one, let me tell you how I see you." That's the part that is actually only in the Passion.
Interesting.
Everything else is talking about let me compare you, or I compare you to this.
Yeah.
But in the Passion, it says, let me tell you how I see
it's
you.
good.
Yeah, so, and it says, you are so thrilling to me. To gaze upon you is like looking at one of Pharaoh's finest horses, a strong, regal steed pulling his royal chariot. Your tender cheeks are aglow. Your earrings and gem-laden necklaces set them ablaze. We will enhance your beauty, encircling you with our golden reins of love. You will be marked with our redeeming grace. There's so much there. It's just like literally word after word you could just dissect and look at. The part that stuck out to me, though, was Pharaoh's finest horses, a strong, regal steed pulling his royal chariot. I got to looking around, and why is he describing a horse? Horses are beautiful, right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially wild horses. And I read a few different things about that, but the most interesting part to me was pulling his royal chariot. So instead of like the way the Shepherd King is describing this is what your life would look like with me, right? And he's there's almost an understanding that she misinterprets what life would look like. I mean, we see that in how she describes herself in former verses and things like that, and kind of the shame and the guilt that's there.
Oh, yeah.
But she also may, like, I think I would consider this. If I were stepping into a royal life, I would probably think it would be like a life of leisure, right? But taking on like Solomon's view of it, and he's the one writing it, saying, come into my kingdom and be my queen with me.
Right.
And the part where he says pulling his royal chariot, he's alluding to the fact that there will be work.
Oh, yeah.
But it will be good work.
Yeah.
And when you think of a royal steed pulling a chariot, those are like the utmost of horses, right? They're the ones that that kind of lead the pack. And I also read a blog similar to this. I actually found one that's specifically on 9 through 11. It was really interesting.
Nice. What's the name of it? I found a couple along the way. Do you remember?
You would.
Sorry, you don't have to look.
It's fine. I have it right here.
It might be the one I've been trying to find that I can't find anymore.
I had it pulled up here. Yep. When Horses Become Children by Paris Bailey.
Never heard of that one.
So Paris Bailey is a pastor, and he had a vision about similar to this. And basically what he was describing, he had a vision of horses, like wild horses, like prancing through whatever, running. And they eventually became in unison. Like initially they were just kind of wild and running around.
Right. But
they became they come into unison, and then all of a sudden it was like this beautiful picturesque moment of horses running in unison. Then as that happened, they became children. They transformed into children. And what he described there was, as we become into unison with like our walk and with God, then we become and have that faith like a child.
Yeah.
And that purity of a child. And I thought that was so beautiful.
So good.
So yeah, those were kind of the things that stuck out to me. It takes me back also to like the identity statement, the conversation we've been having. Yep. Just the idea of, this is who you are. Let me tell you what I think of you.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about what you think. Let's talk, or the world thinks. Let's talk about what I think. Which was really cool too. So, yeah. What about you?
Super good. Well, I thought I'd share a little bit, and then I thought, since we have a little extra time, we might do an exercise. A lot of times with Bible study, we just sit and we talk.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be really cool because we have this conversation going on between the bride and the bridegroom, to have a conversation with the bridegroom. So get ready for that. I'm going to need some help from everyone online to do that. But as I was sitting there studying this morning, but let me pull up. It's right here. I'm pulling away from, I think TJ pointed out already that first verse. In the first verse, my dearest one, let me tell you, I see you. and we'll dig that out a little bit more. But I think looking at the horses, and you've kind of brought this out a little bit, where it says to gaze upon you is like looking at one of Pharaoh's finest horses, a strong royal steed pulling his royal chariot. And as I was studying this, I started to realize about the Arabian horses. This was most likely an Arabian horse. Which an Arabian horse, and I don't know, in South Dakota there's a lot of people that have horses. So they probably know a lot more about Arabian horses. What I know about them is that they tend to stick out above the rest.
Yeah.
And so if you started to study Egyptian culture and some of the Middle Eastern cultures, Arabian horses were cared for, like you said, like children. That the horses had such a unique relationship with the owner. So there's an understanding here that Solomon may have been pulling out the concept of the Arabian horse and the relationship between the owner and the Arabian horse.
Yeah.
Because the way that the Arabian horses were trained is different from the way that we see training of horses, where the beating into submission, where from some of the things I was seeing with the way that they would train the horses, that horse almost became like your favorite dog. You know, that there was a relationship, a unique, close relationship that steered the horse based on relationship. So I love that comment, and I never get it right, that lovers make better workers. You know, so that's why I love that you brought out this element of workmanship and the work and the labor, but it starts with that love relationship, that trust and that bond that's built between Solomon and his Arabian horses.
Yeah.
The horse will respond better in hard circumstances because it's built trust and relationship. So if you work the horse towards a breaking point, but it has trust with the master, right?
Yeah.
It will labor through in the place of trust.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really unique thing here, in pulling out the Pharaoh's finest horses, a strong regal steed pulling it was the best of the best.
Right.
So there's a unique relationship, and we know that those horses would have been to battle with Solomon.
Yeah.
So there would have had to have been a trust relationship in the middle of hard circumstances. You know, and I think that's something as we're going through, just to bring it practical in a lot of ways, what we're going through in this COVID season and pandemics and racial tension and an election year. I always tell everybody, like, why is it so chaotic? It's an election year. You know, it's not really a joke, but it is a joke. It's like, why can't anybody figure anything out? It's an election year.
Yeah.
You know, but there's this element of unrest that's going on in the culture, that's going on in the world. I mean, it's not just here. Getting word that Greece is in unrest, and they're actually preparing for battle with Turkey. From people who are over there, that Turkey's actually, and they've been doing this for years, but when a Greek tells you that they're on the verge of something, it's like they're on the verge of something.
Okay.
And so you read the scriptures, there's rumors of wars and battles and different things that are going on across the world, and there's people talking about this end times stuff that's going on. And so how do you have peace in the end times revelation?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I loved about what Sean was drawing out of the prophetic book of the book of Revelation. If you read it as a lover and you read it as a beloved, you get a different perspective of trust in the midst of turmoil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a love relationship creates a bond and uniqueness.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are still struggling with a God that's constantly with you. We're still trying to call down heaven.
Yeah.
We're still trying to tell the world, and this is from the Pentecostal charismatic perspective, that they act religious when in fact we have some religious mindsets. You know, so instead of seeing who they are as ones who are beloved by the Father, we still perceive them in the religious behaviors, when in fact we still have some of our own too.
Yeah.
So we are trying to call each other out instead of calling each other up.
Yeah.
I might be on a little side bend over here.
It's good. It's good though.
But just sitting there and understanding, okay, so the world, like I'm going to Mexico in a few weeks. We know that Mexico is the Catholic nation, right?
Yeah.
So the Catholic Church is the one that needs a revival. right? But yet, in America, we're saying the Christian church needs a revival. You know, we're all trying to find revival. And revival is not a bad thing. I don't mind the word revival. It's the calling out of others instead of calling them up into who they are.
Yeah.
So we have all this tension and all this division and all these things going on. And here's the bride and the bridegroom's relationship. And he's calling out who she is.
Yeah.
And it gets farther in there, and that's where this exercise comes in a little bit. But really captivated by the element of seeing each other. You know, I was really getting convicted last night, you know, when you have tense relationships with people, including your wife, because no one ever has those, right? And not that we were having intense fellowship last night. Nicole says, what's the verses for this week? It's verses 9 through 11. Chapter 1, verses 9 through 11. And not that, you know, it wasn't super intense fellowship, but, you know, when you're having intense fellowship, you certainly don't want to pursue the other individual.
Yeah.
So here we are in Song of Solomon, and the Lord's like, I never stopped pursuing you
Yeah.
when you didn't
Never.
want me.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, this is not normal. This isn't normal relationship, because there's this element that when we feel distant or hurt or somebody doesn't respond the way we think they should, we remove relationship. Like Brent says, we roll over.
Yeah.
I remember him saying that. It's the roll over principle instead of the roll towards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's so unique about this Song of Solomon aspect, that he's rolling towards her. He's coming towards her. He's not seeing her as broken and barren and disconnected. He's seeing her as the Father. Well,
Right.
he is the Father, and he's seeing her.
Yeah.
You know. So thanks, Jolyn, for dropping that in there. So feel free to type in your comments here. TJ and I are hashing this out. Not hashing. We're actually just talking it out.
Yeah.
But really this element, you know, and then if you move on into Song of Solomon, verse 10, again, I love the Passion Translation just as much as you do. In verse 10, it says, your tender cheeks are aglow. And actually the cheeks were actually considered potentially as the brow. How lovely are your cheeks. Here's in the NLT. Your earrings set them afire. So the brow would have been adorned. And if you've ever seen any ancient Egyptian women who adorn themselves, you start to see the gold or the brow line that's really amplified. And your earrings actually set them afire. So it's like putting your outfit together. You would know. You're way better at putting your outfit together than me. You're the one with a wooden bow tie.
Yeah, that's true. I do have one of those.
How lovely is your neck, enhanced by a string of jewels, which the neck is a sign of strength. So, you ever heard the phrase stiff neck? You know, the strength of the neck can either bring you strength or you can bring you stubbornness.
Yeah.
We will make your earrings of gold and beads of silver. So here he's calling all this out, and I want to circle back. This is where I wanted to kind of land today, since it's the two of us. And see if we get some comments in here. Feel free to throw in your comments as we're laying this out and you're listening. To really come back into verse 9. And as I was sitting there this morning and going over this part of the text, I got through verse 9, and it says, this is the Passion Translation. It says, my dearest one, let me tell you how I see you. And this is where you got stopped. And I went, okay, tell me how you see me. And I started to just ask the Holy Spirit to ask, in relationship with the Father, tell me how you see me. I could sit here and I can study and study and study. But the simple question that I wanted to hear from him is, how do you see me?
Yeah.
Because if this is the way that you see the beloved, you know, the one that you love, and my relationship with you is constant, it's to be in constant connection, I want to ask you the same question.
Yeah.
How do you see me? And then I just stopped. And you are so thrilling to me. And I'd like, okay, Lord, what does it mean to be thrilling to you? What thrills you? There's so many people looking for encouragement.
Yeah.
We're trying to find encouragement in our jobs. We're trying to find encouragement in our relationships. We're trying to find affirmation everywhere and anywhere we can find it. And here we sit right in the middle of this. And the question becomes, what about me thrills you?
That's good.
So, a couple comments coming in, and then I'm going to ask that question here. I'll drop it in the comment thread, and we're just going to give a couple minutes because we're online. It's awkward to leave dead silence too long. But kind of close out with that question. Ask the Father, what is it about? How did I say it? I never get it the next few times. What is it that thrills you about me?
Yeah.
I'll type it in there while we read some of these comments.
Yeah, so Jolene, let's see here, actually. Well, Jolene's just going crazy here.
Is she?
It's great. She was filling in Nicole, but she said 1, 9 through 11. Fine horses were worth a lot of money, so it's an investment of your strength. Loving God with all your strength, money, resources. And horses are used in emotional health as well, like therapy.
Mm-hmm.
She also says, to think that his gaze is upon us takes me to Revelation, where his eyes are eyes of fire. So he sees us with all the dross and sin burned away. He sees us purified. So good. That is awesome, Jolene. That's a great thought to think of the eyes of fire. Mm-hmm. That's so sweet. Then Nicole, this isn't necessarily related to these specific verses, but the whole study. This weekend I heard a song for the first time, and in it, the lyric was, "Hold on, love." And that he calls us love hit me differently than ever before because we have been going through these verses. Yeah, so true. It's like, let me tell you what I think about you. And he calls us love. That's so good. So true, Nicole.
So the question's in there, and TJ can help me if I didn't phrase it better, if we can phrase it better. But what is it to ask the Father, ask Holy Spirit, what is it that thrills you about me?
Yeah.
And then when God shows you, just drop it, reply it in there. TJ and I'll drop it in there as well.
Yeah.
But just ask Holy Spirit, what is it that thrills you about me? I want some specifics, God.
This is an intriguing question because it almost sounds as if you're talking yourself up when you're answering the question. So it's like, how do I word this? And I think when it comes like the things that I feel like God sees in me are things that I have grown to mistake about myself. Mm-hmm. So I think of like how I father, how I love, and I think that God really has, especially in this last season, he's challenged me to love deeper. And because of that, I've learned to understand his love for me more. Mm-hmm. I think back to a moment where we were talking about that song, "You Dance Over Me When I'm Unaware." Mm-hmm. I can't remember the exact song, but that is the lyric. And this moment I had with Mac where she was asleep and I was just like so giddy, and she's like, oh, she's just so perfect, you know, and like that, those feelings, that's how God feels about us, and that's how God feels about me. When I am unaware, he is like fully just enthralled in how much he loves me. Mm. And that's just so cool. Mm-hmm.
Get a couple comments in here. Feel free to drop those in here. Amazed.
Yeah. Amazed. I think back to like and this has just all been a part of my journey, but not being a sinner saved by grace. That's not my definition. That's not my identity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I grew up thinking. I'm a sinner saved by grace. I'm a beggar at the feet of God. Like
beggar begging for bread.
Right, things like that. And God says, no, you're a saint that struggles with sin sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And to think like we're a saint is just like so outside of a worldly perspective, right? Like trying to comprehend. I mean, I was just talking to some of the youth about this last night. Like, that changes how we pray.
Mm-hmm.
When we understand that we are a saint, then we are no longer asking in a form of God being a master.
Right.
We are declaring it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're like, nope, sin, go away, or like sickness, be gone.
Yep.
Like, instead of God, please heal this person.
Mm-hmm. If it's your will.
Like, and it's just like it's a flip of the switch, but it changes so much. And when we learn how to love Him more and to fall in love with and understand that love relationship,
mm-hmm.
then we understand how to pray, and then those things that may, like all the outside stuff, like the miracles and the signs and wonders, begin to happen because it's not because we're better.
Mm-mm.
It's just a matter of perception.
It's really because we're more aware.
Right.
That's, you don't have to get clean and free for miracles to happen, because miracles are already happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're totally messing with all these paradigms. Like, good stuff coming in. Your wife's putting stuff in here too.
Look at her. Yeah.
When I live in the freedom of His love for me, no self-condemnation, no taking on the label of others, not living out of obligation, but rather out of joy, choosing to live in the abundance of His love rather than surviving the moment. That's super good. So I was going to answer I'm glad you like her. That's a good thing. I was going to answer the question. Again, when you ask God a question, it's usually the first thing He tells you.
Mm-hmm.
When you question it, it's usually not the second thing He tells you. It's usually the first thing He tells you. And Jaron and I were talking about that on Sunday morning, about hearing God. What is it that thrills you about me? God said, your passionate pursuit of the right things.
Mm.
Thrills His heart. That's just me and Him. I love how He just speaks those things over you. Jaron said the song that you were looking for is Amazed.
Yeah, I noticed that. Thanks, Jaron.
I'm a little confused by your other two comments here, but I think that you have a beautiful mind. Jaron, he told me I had a beautiful mind. This was from someone else. I don't know, because I know you, Jaron, I don't know if that's a sarcastic response to the first line, but I really do think you have a beautiful mind, just to affirm you on that. And let's see here. Jolin says, pleased with the position of the heart, He sees it all. It really is about the position of the heart. You can be super theological, know everything about the scriptures, know how to pull everything apart, and have a wrong heart position.
Yeah.
And you can be theologically inept, just or growing in your theology.
Yep.
And have a heart position that the Father sees.
Yeah.
And be in a better place. So,
right.
Good stuff. Let me just flip over here to YouTube. Got a couple people on YouTube. Make sure we get all your comments and questions. Anybody else want to answer that question before we land the ship here? We didn't get as far off track today. So the question again, I think I pinned it here. If not, I'm going to pin it just so you can see it once I find it.
Oh, there it is. Jaron says, someone prophesied over me that because I've always prophesied that over me because I've always seen my mind as evil.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Jaron's saying. Okay, that makes sense.
Now it makes more sense.
Yep.
Just knowing you, we didn't know what the second line of the comment was, which is super good. So what is it that thrills you about me is a question to God when it comes out of Song of Solomon. What is it? If you find me so thrilling, what is it that thrills you?
Yeah, I think as I listen more and more as we kind of go through this conversation, I feel like God's stretching me or challenging me and saying, the more and more countercultural I am. I think just like I think that excites him. The way that I fight for his truth in a world that is full of tradition and religion and things like that. I really believe that's where God really is thrilled by me. Or an aspect.
Right.
Not necessarily it all, but...
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Well, it's good to be with you guys. We still haven't heard from Brent. We obviously know he didn't get the laughing gas, so but I'm sure he's doing pretty good. He's gotten a tooth out before.
Yeah.
So one less tooth. Ryan's out serving and loving on the Native Americans, which is his heart, and that's awesome. And so we'll be back next Thursday or next Wednesday. Why do I keep thinking it's Thursday? I don't know. I'm trying to go a day ahead. Maybe I'm just trying to get on vacation faster.
There you go.
I don't know. I love what I do, but vacation sounds really good too.
Yeah.
So, but tomorrow is Thursday. I'll be back at 11. Worship with the Word, John chapter 15. We did a little Selah last week, and we'll worship this week. But Sunday we're back again, 8:30, 10:45. TJ has the opener.
Yeah.
You can see his face first.
It'll be good.
We've been in that Overcome series. It's been super good, but it's good to be with you. If you want to answer that question as well, what is it that thrills you about me? God, you can put that question mark before the question mark if you need to.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear those things. You can tell us, text us, or whatever.
Yeah, that's really good.
Brent likes ice cream. Can you have ice cream after you have your tooth pulled?
I can't remember. You can't suck through a straw.
Can't suck through a straw, but something cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never had a tooth pulled, so. All right. Well, you guys are awesome. We love being with you every Wednesday at 1 p.m. And hopefully we'll see you guys at Wild Water West tonight. Don't worry. All the dad bods will make an appearance. So if
Yes,
you're worried
they
about your
will.
dad bod.
It's not a dad bod, it's a father figure.
I kind of like that.
There you go.
Father figure. I'm going to wear my father figure tonight while I'm walking around in the pee pool. I mean, the kiddie
Yes.
pool. So, anyway, you guys are awesome. We're going to land this ship. We'll see you tomorrow online or tonight. You guys are awesome. We will talk to you soon. Have a good day.
See you guys.